How y'all doing tonight, family? Downloads from Facebook, or after I upload it to Facebook, I'm going to download it and upload it to my YouTube. I just wanted to talk about how the attitude of this nation is all hypocrisy. If you look into the history of the churches and their missions they set up, because everyone wants to talk about the church's missions and all that. If you actually look into the history, the missions they set up here were slave camps. They were internment camps. They interned the indigenous people, and they used them for slave labor. And a lot of people died there. Now we don't need to tell you who this is, because if you don't know that's our people, then you're just lost, you know. But it's just crazy how Christians in this country say, you know, because I get called a racist, and they say everything's about love and it's about Christ and the blood of Christ forgave our sins and all this other nonsense they come up with. But when you tell them, like, what about biblical prophecy? What about the fact that you and your ancestors have fulfilled biblical prophecy, have come to the land of promise and treaded the children of the Most High underfoot? What about when you tell them that? They don't like that. They don't want to hear that. You know, they are in complete denial of their churches and their people playing the role of the angel of death, coming over to the fourth part, which is the Americas, raping, robbing, murdering, killing whatever they could to possess the land. And, you know, if that's not what happened, how do you guys who came here as pilgrims have this land now? How do you justify your industry, your business on this land when you didn't pay or honor your treaties with the indigenous people? You know, they invited everyone to America. Anyone that can get here. Oh, you're a citizen, you get 7 years tax-free. Oh, you want to hand that business down to your child, you get 7 years tax-free. You know, as they loot and pillage the land of promise here, selling us our own wood like the Bible says. You know, selling us our own material. You know, they came here, they stole resources, right? They rewrote history, right? So where does these Christian people in these Christian nations, because a lot of these Christians are wealthy white Christians here, where do you guys, how do you guys see yourself as living according to the words of Christ? I mean, did Christ have more than his brothers and sisters? No. Christ didn't buy a house and spend his whole life filling his house with the things of the earth. No, he didn't hoard all that stuff. And no. He didn't come and buy and sell land. We didn't set that system up. You guys did. And when you tell them, like, no, like, we don't need to work any harder. Our forefathers labored for centuries without wages. All right, we built all these cities. All right, you guys came later on, Johnny come latelys, you know, and took everything. You know, you overthrew the natural order. That's why, you know, a lot of you guys think when this comes up, they think, oh, we're just gonna keep all this stuff. You know, like, what do you think? You can keep all the stuff your ancestors stole? And that's why exactly you're not gonna be able to make these decisions, because if it's up to you, you didn't do nothing wrong. Nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. You know, everything is good. That's just the funny part, because no matter how much you research or history you look into, you always come across the same, how I put this, the same events. Like, basically, if you go back to the 1500s, guess who's being killed, raped, and destroyed? Israelites, right? They were calling the Saracens then. Right? They read all these papal bulls. They're claiming that they'd applied to the Holy Land in the Middle East. That's a lie. Bro, if you guys study Anatoly Fomenko's work, he's a Russian, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, he's a Russian mathematician who used astrological markers like eclipses and things like that. Y'all know that the flat earth community knows our planet and the sun and the stars is like a big clock. They all repeat patterns. Like the Hoover Dam. The Hoover Dam is a giant astrological calendar. You can look at that astrological calendar and tell when they built the dam. Now, that Russian mathematician figured out that all the history is a lie, because the events outlined in the Bible with the eclipses and all that, and historical events, don't line up to the places they're correlating with. Like, for instance, when Christ died, there was an eclipse. Y'all remember, if y'all read the story, that the Roman centurion saw the eclipse and converted to Christianity right there after killing Christ because he didn't know. Well, if y'all guys really look at that, that eclipse had to be over here in the Americas. For the time they get, it's not, that eclipse wouldn't be visible over in the modern day promised land model. So if you guys start looking at history through this lens, you can clearly see all these discrepancies in history start to clear up, because you realize, oh, they added the X when they came to America and started colonizing America. Now, all this history has been hidden from you so you can believe that the lie of the New World Order. And I say New World Order because a lot of Christians are scared, and Americans are scared of a New World Order coming and ruling this hemisphere, and they don't understand. They've already done that. This is not the New World. This is the Old World, and you came with your New World Order, okay? Okay, so the New World is over there in Europe, and this is the Old World. So they came with this New World Order, right? They came, they said, subdue all the Saracens. And if you look up what a Saracen is, you know, before the Queen of England died, I mean, the king wears this patch too. They have a patch of a white angel standing on top of a black man. That black man will be known as the Saracen. We had many different names throughout the Middle Ages and all those ages. They were calling us Moors. And now if you look up the definition of Moor, they say it's a Arab and a Berber mixed together or some crap. But if you look at the old dictionaries, a Moor is a Negro. See, but they had to write you out of history. They had to erase your history so they can play the roles of the saviors. They can come in and say, because they've erased their history, they can come in and say, no, we came in and civilized America. We came in and taught math and writing, and you didn't know none of that before you came here, before we came here. Even though it's the opposite. They came here, they got their whole metric system from the pyramids that were here, the Adobe brick pyramids, which are the oldest pyramids on the planet, right? They got to admit that in Ireland, where our people were too, because we're the original Irish, and all that land in Europe's ours too. When we were the Moors, when they were calling us Moors, and they kicked us out of our homes, and you know, we had to go be refugees everywhere. Just like right now, we're refugees everywhere. We don't have no home country to be in, right? We don't have no own. We're just Negroes. We don't have no, you know, we're Africans, you know? That's what they said. If you're black, they say you're African. Well, that makes no sense, because you go to Russia, and you look at the Russian icons, right? What's on there in the Russian icons? In their cathedrals and churches in Russia and a lot of places in Europe and all over the world were these ancient cathedrals and churches that were built by our ancient forefathers. There are stained glass depictions of black Israelites all over Russia, all over Europe. And it was like that in America, but, you know, America started a global white supremacist society, so what they do, they go around changing everything. They got to New York, they saw those ancient cathedrals in New York, they saw that shit was lit, they saw that shit was beautiful, and they said, you know, we're going to change all this, we're going to rewrite all this, right? Just like during the Crusades, which all the Crusades took place in the Holy Land, which is America, all right? The Europeans, like I said, have been here longer than they claim they have been. Middle Ages, they started invading America. There's 1,000 years added on to the modern chronology. That's a known fact. I mean, it's not widely accepted, but of course, the people that were widely accepted are the people who have the interest in hiding the real chronology of the earth. But that's exactly how this goes. You see, the guilty party has to hide their guilt, and they have to assume the role of these great people. Like all the Christian churches, all the Christian faiths. Do you really think that they know what they're talking about? Like, I'm sure at the tops and the heads of their society. How you doing? I'm sure at the top and the heads of their society, they have these records. They know what's going on. But the history is set up so they can, what's the word? So they can claim plausible deniability. That's what it is. They want to have plausible deniability. But we didn't know this and that. Well, why don't you know that? You are the Christians, right? You're supposed to be the people of that Bible. According to them, they're the people of the Bible. So, me personally, if I say this Bible is my history, and you come up and defame this and say it's your history, I would come out and challenge that, right? We expect people who claim they're the progenitor of the scriptures to defend their stance, but they don't. They can't defend their stance. They can't defend their stance because all you gotta do is mention, oh, what about the church? What about the church's history of slavery? What about them using the scriptures for that? Then they go, well, it wasn't all the churches, and we gotta forgive and we gotta forget, but they never made anything right after slavery, right? Who did they pay reparations to? The slave masters. Yes, they paid reparations to the slave masters for losing their property. They never reimbursed none of the slaves. Like I said, the United States government has committed acts of terror against us, acts of experimentation. They still do this. What about Henrietta Lacks? That whole lawsuit just settled with her. They stole her genes and used it to make medicine that's been in medicine for years. All kinds of weird stuff. Because they found out that black people have an immortal cell line. If you look this up, Henrietta Lacks, immortal cell line. They know this. When we're born, they collect your DNA right off birth. They've been using it for whatever, bro. It's just that, you'll find out 20, 30 years later after you die that they've been using your DNA to make all this shit. They just collect it and keep it. You know what I mean? But that's how this goes, bro. They used to experiment on us with no anesthesia. They would say things like, oh, they can handle, oh, they're not human. They can handle it. They don't feel pain. Oh, the sun doesn't affect them. They could work in the sun all day. That's the same shit they do today. These people have no right to even be on this land until they make the right steps with the indigenous people of this land. And I know that sounds fucked up, but that's true, bro. Hey, man, you could just Google these terms. I don't have to prove anything, but it's a known fact that the European settlers killed so many Native Americans that it had a chilling effect on the weather. Because when all these farmers and stewards of the land die and all the cattle die, yeah, because they killed cattle, and when I say cattle, I don't mean like the cows they brought, I mean like bison. Cattle for the Native Americans, our people, was bison. Look up the destruction of the bison to detrimentally affect the Indian population. They genocided the bison. And that's not just the bison. We had trees here bigger than any trees on the planet. We still do. But a lot of them are just cut down. They came here. It was a land of promise. They made millions of dollars off the wood here. Millions of dollars off the resource they took out the ground here. Millions and millions and millions. Now they think they don't owe us nothing. When this is our land and they stole all of our resources and they came here and they've been occupying us for 500 plus years. Okay? 500 plus years. But it's okay because here's their attitude. They go, well, we don't subscribe to that version of history. So therefore, we don't owe you shit. We subscribe to white supremacy, and that's what it is. When they subscribe to the accepted history, that's white supremacy. That's coming here and saying there was no written language. All right, well, we found Egyptian artifacts and Hebrew in America. We find Egyptian hieroglyphs in the Grand Canyon in America. So how could they get off saying there's no written language? Oh no, but according to their history, they're the Egyptians, right? And that's over there in the Middle East, right? This is not the Middle East. This is not the land of promise. This is not the same Egypt that grew all the corn when there was a famine in the land of Canaan and fed the whole world, right? But that's how this works. Their whole history is a big lie so they can justify being on your land. So when you ask for reparations or you're asking for housing and not to be homeless, they go and say you don't work hard enough. Even though they've exploited you, your people, your land, your resources for decades and generations. And they've been doing it so long, they forgot the whole real history, because when they first came to America, they knew the real history. They knew this was the land of promise. That's why they called themselves pilgrims, right? Their ancestors committed all these sins, wanted to cover it up. And they've left their children to take the fall, because that's the truth. They didn't care. They wanted to live their life and not work and have people serve them their whole life and take advantage of the indigenous people. And they knew good damn well that at some point down the line, the shoe was going to be on the other foot and all those sins would be on their children. But they didn't care. So they just did what they wanted to do. They let the whole world, trample over us, run us underfoot. They came here, they came to the islands, they overthrew all the kingdoms in the islands, right? They came to America, overthrew all those kingdoms, fought multiple wars with us, and then they started saying we exterminated the Indians. They don't exist no more. We brought these people from Africa. Like, that's even possible. You know, like, what the fuck does Europeans think they are? The fucking master engineers of the earth? Like, you explain to me how you made these slave trip voyages work on a 3-month voyage across the sea with motherfuckers packed in a boat like sardines in a can. You know, you didn't bring enough resources for them to drink and eat, or your crew. So you got to bring all that plus the tons of men you got tied down to the bottom of the boat. That's fake. But not the whole slave ship narrative is fake. Really, what was going on is because the Most High said He would bring us back into Egypt, which is Middle America, by ship. And that's true. Some people were coming from Jamaica. Some people were coming from South America. When they came here, they would set up in the island or an area. They would work the indigenous people they found there to death, and then they would import more from other parts of America. That's the truth. And they still work us to death. Niggas can't even afford to lay their head down or sleep. Right? Niggas can't even afford to sleep. You gotta have 2-3 jobs to just have a house or an apartment. And you be having a basic apartment, especially in New Jersey, you be having a basic apartment, and it's like $1,300 a month for a fucking studio. And you working 2 jobs just to pay that. It's slavery. I don't care what they say, it's slavery. But the white people that make money off this are all the people in power, and there's black people too, there's just not many of them. Because like I said, most of our people are under the curses of Deuteronomy, unless you've made covenants with this other nation to go be against your people. Like, y'all remember when Moses was dealing with the Pharaoh, and he saw like the Israelites getting mistreated, and he wouldn't go and live under the Pharaoh's house anymore and be their prince or son no more. He went and served like with the Israelite and went and did work and slaved with them because he saw what was going on. That's us. That's not them. That's not the Christians. That's not none of you guys. None of you guys. The Christians today are selfish people who love money and wealth, and that's why they always talk about like you always hear, they'll be like, this is the most blessed nation ever. Oh, it's so prosperous. And I'm like, bro, prosperity can come from multiple sources. You can be prosperous. If I come to your land, right, and I rape, murder, and rob for centuries, and I occupy your land for centuries, me and my descendants will be the most prosperous people on the planet because we just took advantage of people. You get what I'm saying? But for the people watching this on YouTube, if you guys go and check out my the video is titled 2023 Bible Prophecy and the Judgment Against the Gentile Nations. In there, I played a big Judah clip where he reads from multiple sources. One of them's the Book of Mormon, one of them's the sealed portion, and the other one's the Bible. And he goes by and links all these things together. Like, after the Gentiles have come upon the face of this land, scattered and destroyed his people, and then were filled with all kinds of secret murders, abominations, lies, and deceivings, he was going to judge them. And you see that happening now. If you go back and look at the weather events in America for the last 3 years, really since the last solar eclipse in 2017, it's been rocking out here. Like, everything's been slamming. And they know that, bro. They know what's going on. That's why they keep saying, oh, it's global warming. They're warning, oh, global warming. Oh, climate change. And no, this and that. Oh, the poles are shifting. Well, the poles can't shift on a flat earth, guys. It's not. They just make up stuff. They don't want you to know that it's the time for the 10 plagues of Abraham. And the Most High is going to start removing these people off the land. Because they need to go. They want to live in big mansion houses while people are poor and suffer. Well, why shouldn't you guys take part of that suffering that you are so quick to sponsor? Because that's what I mean. You guys sponsor all that. It's your economy and your business and your industry that sponsors all that suffering. That's the same abomination that makes the house of one man full and the house of another man empty. That's that same abomination. Churches are all a part of that. They're all Psalms 83. They all want to join together and be of one consent and be confederate against the Most High in the way He asked us to live on the earth, which was communal living. And people say, you're a communist. Bro, I'm not a communist, bro. And if you think that communism is what you've been shown in this world, then you're wrong. Because, let's be real, all the dictators in the world of U.S. history
had been set up by the U.S. The Bolsheviks were trained in New York. They were given Rothschild, Rockefeller money, sent to Russia, overthrew the Russian government, set up a communist system. That's because the capitalists in this country go around setting up communists so they can demonize communal living. Then they go, look, it failed. Capitalism is the only way. Look how prosperous America is. Oh yeah, well, because you're prosperous because you're really capitalist. Hey, bro, you took advantage of the whole indigenous population of America so you can make capital. Hey, you think the slave traders weren't capitalists? You think the people that had people working in farms aren't capitalists? You think the people on the Amazon plantation today aren't running the Amazon plantation today aren't capitalists, right? People go, well, Amazon pays and this and that. I'm like, no, bro, that nigga don't want to pay nobody shit. That's why they fire people so often, because they don't want you to be able to sit there and benefit and grow with the company. They'd rather just fire you and get rid of somebody and get somebody else in here and pay him a basic wage again. And when his wages start to rise according to the company's rules, they fire him and get another one in there. That's how that works. That's why Amazon runs, because they don't want to pay you, bro. They don't care about you. They don't care about nothing but themselves. All these people don't care about nothing but their goddamn selves. They need to get the fuck off this land, because before they came here, it wasn't like that. Niggas didn't have to work their whole life just to have a house. Hey, guess what? If you could build your house, it was your house. Nobody came and said, you gotta pay me for what? Nobody buying and selling land here built a house here. That's the truth. They don't build the houses. They just buy and sell everything. They don't make anything necessary for society. They just make money. And that money has allowed them to manipulate and control the people who produce the goods and services that make society possible. And that's all this is. It's hardcore manipulation. They would have you feel bad about yourself because you can't provide something for yourself when they are the people hoarding the resources. I work in New Jersey, right? So a lot of the times I find myself in Jewish neighborhoods, and all these Jewish neighborhoods are all houses from the 1500s. They all got mud flooded windows. You can tell the first floor of these houses are underground. They didn't build these houses, but they live in them, and they're the nicest houses ever. You can tell the old architecture. A lot of these houses still have old Antiquitech antennas for harvesting atmospheric energy and converting it into electricity on top of the houses. All the old technology left over from the old world. You know they didn't build these houses, but they walk around with their fringes and shit on. I'm like, these people got to be out their fucking mind, bro. They really think, like, and the funny part is, when you look into it, the Jewish people were the number one slaveholders in America. Still to this day. They're the number one corporation owners. They own everything in America, bro. Still to this day, they're the number one slave owners in America. You start looking it up, you'd be surprised how many corporations, how many all Jewish people. And then they'll say, well, that's because we're God's chosen people. But I'm like, okay, if you're God's chosen people, you use the blessings to prove that, right? Now, we know that title comes with blessings and cursings. So when were you ever under these curses? Because if you're going to say, oh, World War II, well, that doesn't make no sense, because, you know, according to you, that's not proper. That's not biblical. You can't be like, oh, World War II is when we went through these Jacob's trouble if we're the Jews, right? No, you can't say that. Because come on. And we know, I can't say this a lot because when it uploads on YouTube, we know the whole narrative of the Holocaust is fraudulent. Like, there's not enough of those particular people in that particular country where this Holocaust took place at to make 6 million. But over here in the Americas, they killed more than 6 million freaking Indians, bro. Bro, they would just, like, look, all the Inquisitions was here. All that shit was here. So, you know, if you could speak Hebrew, they'd burn you at the stake. You know what I mean? Oh, you could read for yourself. Oh, you're dead. Because why? Because if you could read, they can't just rewrite the scriptures and tell you whatever nonsense they want. You can read for yourself. So what they do? They persecuted people that can read. They removed the wisdom and knowledge from the tribes. Just like the book of Isaiah says, my people have gone into captivity because they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are dried up with thirst. That's what happened here. They dried us up with thirst. And then they came and they said, oh yeah, we just rape, robbed, and murder you. But listen, we're your friends. We want to be your friends. We love you. We want to be your friends. But we're not giving you shit back. We don't owe you anything. And the suffering of black people in America has nothing to do with us coming here, raping, robbing, and murdering, and taking the land. And your suffering is only you. It has nothing to do with being disenfranchised. It has nothing to do with being occupied for generations. It has nothing to do with none of that. Nothing to do with none of that. None of it. This is all you're doing. And I'm like, well, that would be right if you didn't come here and rape, rob, murder, and steal. But, that's their attitude, bro. I drove in from one part of this country, from one coast of this country to the other. I've seen so many mansions on properties, and I've worked on their properties. You'll go there, oh, it's just me and my wife, a 70-year-old man and his wife, big ass house. I'm like, bro, how, and why? But they don't care, bro. See, that's what they say. They're like, oh, I have this and I need it, so it's mine. And I'm justified because this is mine. Not maybe we should follow the law of consecration and give what we don't have and make sure there's no home. No. There's homeless people here because this country's full of greedy capitalists, bro. And that's a fact. There wasn't no homeless people here before they showed up here with that bullshit. You think the Indians were letting people, you think our ancestors were letting people sleep on the streets? No, that's greedy ass capitalists. That's European mind state. That's how they were treating each other over there in Europe before they came here. So that's the same shit they've been on. That's why, even when they came here, a lot of them came here as broke, poor serfs in Europe because they were being treated like that by their rulers in Europe. So they came here, set up the same system. They said, you know what, we're going to tell this European government controlling us, we're going to tell them to kick rocks, we're going to fight a revolution, and we're going to set the society up so we can make money for ourselves. And that's exactly what it did. If anyone says anything different, they're fucking lying, because they didn't. When they founded this country, it was all off slave labor. They never made any of that illegal. They had black people as 4/5 of a man in the Constitution. It still says that. Still says that to this day. But these are the people telling you that, oh, we're Christians and our doctrine's all about love and respect. But they're not willing to honor the deals they made with the Native Americans back then. They're not willing to come to a compromise about the history and the truth now. And they won't be until the Most High destroys them off the land. I'm not saying he's going to destroy all of them off the land. Just the ones who, who can't see the truth. You have to go, bro. You can't stay on our land. Bro, you can't stay with our land and live with us when, one, you're going to deny our heritage. You've been doing that for years. You're going to deny us our right to the access to this land. They've been doing that for years. When you read the stories about how Native Americans got down, when they were coming across Europeans who were lost or wandering in the woods, they would feed them, they would clothe them, all kinds of shit. But when you go into one of their towns, you're not getting no food or nothing from them. You're not getting shit from them, not for free. They wanted gold and money. That's exactly why the society's like it is now, because we went out of our way, supported these people on this land. That's why they can live here right now. That's why they're all not dead, and all their ancestors survived to have generations on this land, because we taught them how to farm, we taught them how to fish, we taught them how to do everything here. Then what? They erased your culture, they took your land, and now we're all just serfs. And if you complain about it, they tell you don't work hard enough, you're lazy. Because these damn capitalists want to exploit your labor and make money off you. So them and their families don't have to work with their hands. Because didn't God command everybody to work by the sweat of their own brow? You think that people who run corporations sweat at all? No, they don't sweat at all. They don't do no work at all. You do the work. They go on vacation. Bro, you struggle to pay your bills. They're living it out. But that's what I mean. That's just like the slave plantation. One man owns a house, 30 slaves work for him. This guy lives it up. Corporation is the same damn thing. The same damn thing. That's why there's a judgment against the merchants of the earth in the book of Revelations, bro. It's about to go down because they fornicated with this little whore over here in the United States. And they've all followed after her ways. All the countries, all the nations of the earth, all followed after her ways. That's why America has influenced the whole world with its economic system. And that is the abomination of that makes the world desolate and made America desolate, was the economy of the beast. They set up an economy, and men set their hearts on the things of the earth, and it's up from there. It's up from there. There's not one man in this society who doesn't glorify money. And I be telling people, like, that's their God. That's literally their God. When people talk about, oh, this and that. No, that is their God. That's a false idol they worship. They believe that shit could save them from anything. That's why they know their world's about to come to an end. That's why they're like, go get your bug out bag. Oh, go spend your money on storable food. Go do this. Because they think that money's going to save them, bro. This is the funny part. This is how the Most High works. These niggas are going to get their bug out bags and buy all the storable food and put it in their attic, and then their house catches on fire, burns all their storable food down. That's the shit that happens. Or a tornado comes, rips their roof off, spreads all their storable food all over the fucking tri-state. That's what happens, because they think that they think that they don't need God they think that they can make themselves self-sufficient. They think that, like, you know what I mean? But once the Most High says their time on this land is up, it's up. There is no staying longer than, you know what I'm saying? It's up. Once he says it's up, it's up. There's no staying longer. There's no this and that. It's up. So you guys go ahead and buy all your, prepare for the end of the world, like, as y'all understand it. But it ain't gonna change nothing, bro. And if you were one of those people who stored up food because you have money and you have riches and you've earned whatever through this capitalist system, niggas is gonna come take your food when that shit goes bad, bro. That's really what's gonna happen. I'm not saying us, I'm saying people in general, man. America has never experienced the shame and hurt and pain that they've caused the rest of the world. Like, and when they do, they're gonna get it. Like, oh, this is what we've been doing. Oh, we went into Iraq and overthrew. Oh, we trashed Libya. Now people are being sold as slaves, and that's all gonna happen to you guys. And it's only because you guys allow yourself to be led around by the devil, and because the money in the economy is what does this. You guys have allowed yourself to be led around by the devil. Because you desire all the fine things of the earth. And didn't God say, like, he commanded us to love each other and not to love money? And all these Christian sets, they love money. All these churches, they love money. All these mega churches and pastors, even the small ones, they love money. And listen, here's how you know. If their churches were righteous, they wouldn't have a building to be in. Their congregation wouldn't, because all their money would go to what? Helping the poor. That's the only reason why churches are supposed to collect money anyway. Not so your pastor can go on vacation or have a yacht. So, if you're out here following the law of tithing, but not following the law of consecration, where you return the things you collected and you consecrate your gain to the Lord, and that gain goes back to the poor, what are you doing? You're running a priestcraft where you're giving nice and pleasing words that are soothing to people, so they give you money and they can think, well, I give money to my church, so my sins are paid for. You talk to Christians all the time. I love my church. They always say, I love my church. Oh, I love my church. But does your church give heed to the words of Christ? What about Christ's brethren? Does your church ensure that his brethren are taken care of on the land that y'all stole from them? No. We all know you don't. Y'all don't even admit that we're the people of the book. I mean, it's crazy. This world needs to be corrected, bro, and it's coming. It's coming. You can see it with every disaster, that natural disaster, more and more of these people are off the land. And that's exactly what it is. I was watching a tornado tear through Kentucky, bro. It tore through a whole town, destroyed like 3 churches, and then the pastor's out there outside his church that's burned down saying, oh, well, we're so blessed and maybe we can rebuild. And I'm like, these people just don't get it, bro. Like, the God who is sovereign over nature allowed a tornado to tear through your home, your churches, your place. Why would you rebuild that? People go, well, that's just a natural event. Well, some people just can't see the truth. Like, for instance, that town in Tennessee, or Kentucky, sorry, was a town surrounded by cornfields. Now, the cornfields take up a larger space and area than the whole town. But the tornado didn't travel through this big, empty, wide space of cornfields. It came right through your town, destroyed your church, destroyed your schools, destroyed all that shit. It's because you were targeted. And you were targeted by the Most High. People can't see that. You know, they think, oh, yeah, this and that. I'm like, bro, no. Read the Bible. When it comes to whirlwinds, that's a weapon the Most High always used against nations. Bro, and so is tsunamis and things like that, bro. You think Japan got hit with that tsunami in 2011 for no reason? Hell no. That's because Hebrews were originally on the island of Japan, the Ainu people. If you look it up, they're bearded black Hebrews. They're the original Japanese. They're the original samurai. They're the original people. These light-skinned people are a relevantly new creation on this planet. Okay? And they were a small minority. Still, they're a small minority of people compared to the great numbering of Israel here on this earth, because he said his people are like the sands of the sea, but they own the nicest land, all the beachfront property, all the nicest things. It's because you're thieves. And you don't even need that shit because you're such a small minority of people. But look, you look at Africa, big minority of people, less than what they need. But all Europe, Australia, all these places where they took over and colonized and just lived there, and then they think like they belong here or they have a right to be here when they don't. Like, you don't. I don't care if you were born here. It's not my fault your fucking parents came to a land they don't belong and stole the shit, fucked everything up, and now you're just living here. It's not my fault. Bro, but y'all gotta get off our land if y'all don't want to give us our shit back. That's the truth. Plus years. You can't name a nation that's been occupied for that long. Besides us. You know, but they've been doing this for so long that it's just a standard operating procedure now. You know? They've been doing this since the Middle Ages. You know, and that was the whole Great Tribulation that Israel was going to go through. And they think, oh, the Great Tribulation's coming on the church, and all these things are about to come on the scene now. Oh, the Antichrist coming on the scene now. Oh, Russia, Ukraine. Oh, Gog, Magog war. Oh, all their prophecies are like that because they've ignored the fact that they've been fulfilling the prophecies concerning the judgment against Israel. They have been doing that. They deny all that. They removed all that history because they don't want to admit that they're going to have to go and make up for all that. They're going to be given double what they gave us, double the rebuke, double the vitriol. Okay? That's what the truth is. They don't want to admit that. So they change their history, you know? They rewrite history. They do whatever necessary to make it seem like they... somebody wanted to come on? I didn't even see that. Yeah, I'll bring you on. Yeah, but they've rewritten everything, and then they have claimed to be the tribes of Israel. See, that's how this works, though. Like, right now in Australia, Europeans call themselves Australians. Now, we know the indigenous people of Australia are a black African type group, right? I only say the word African because that's what we're known as. Even though we're not Africans, if anything, we're Americans, all of us, because we know all the tribes broke off of this land. They came out of Jerusalem in Utah and spread throughout the earth. They were scattered in the first Babylonian captivity, and there's been multiple captivities. All nations had us in captivity at one point, and it says that in the book. Because look, they colonized America. They started selling niggas everywhere. Niggas was being sold in Russia. Niggas was being sold in fucking China. Niggas was being sold. The slave trade went the opposite way, but the Silk Road slave trade also came out of America. Also was taking people out of America into India, into these spots. They just teach you everything backwards. You know what I mean? I'm not saying we weren't there, because we were there before the slave trade even happened. We're the Brahmin. We built all those temples in India. We built all the temples they don't want to talk about in China. That's why, you know, they hide all these things, because, you know, if you knew there's burial mounds like the Native Americans in Ireland, you start to see like, oh, it's one culture, the Atlanteans. All right, the Atlanteans, right? Because, you know, really, there were 7 great nations in Atlantis. America is Atlantis. Only a portion of Atlantis sunk into the sea, and that's the portion of that
If you go diving off the coast of Cuba, the Caribbean islands, off the Gulf of Mexico, that's where the portion of Atlantis sunk at. It's all down there. It's a known archaeological find. They have found cities off the islands of Puerto Rico and all that. Really, the Caribbean islands are the tops of mountains. Let's be real. And the rest of the continent, or the rest of that area, is underwater. So they're on the top of the mountain in Puerto Rico. Get what I'm saying? And that's just the truth. Hey man, I don't mean to offend you, bro, but you could have some. If you're saying you're indigenous to Australia, then you have to have black blood, because we know the Aborigines of Australia are black people. We know that for a fact. One dude, he got in my comments and said, "Well, I'm a Native American." This dude, white as some butter, bro. Talking about I'm a Native American, bro. Native American are the copper-colored people of America. So guess what? A lot of Mexicans are Native Americans, but a lot of Mexicans are white people from Spain. See, this is the problem. Everybody just comes in and says I'm this and I'm that, and I'm like, bro, let's look at historical facts. All right, old dictionaries depicted Native Americans as copper-colored people. Old photos depict Native Americans as copper-colored people. These people running casinos and living on the reservations can't be Native Americans. They can't be, because one, we know America's Israel. We know the Native Americans are Israelites, right? So if America's Israel and the Native Americans are Israelites, Egyptians, and Sumerians, we know these are black people. Who the fuck are these people in the reservations? Who the fuck are these people that run casinos with no tax for? The government who overthrew the original people of this land installed those people and gave them reservations and land and casinos and said, you don't have to pay no taxes. I've never heard of any government doing that for anybody. But of course, Songs 83, guys, they're against the Most High. They're Confederate. That's how this works. So a lot of people come under this title and claim they're Native Americans. But if you claim you're a Native American and you're an Israelite, that doesn't make sense, because according to their history, Israel's over there, and this part of the world nobody knew about. Oh, they were just wild, savage people living here. Even though if you read the Bible, the sons of Noah cut up the whole earth. They split up the whole earth between them. It doesn't say like they left America undiscovered and we just came here and whoever gets there has it. No, they didn't say that. They know this is Shem's land. They know that this is Shem's land. The descendants of Shem. We're not all the now. Shem was a goddamn Negro. They know. Shem was even called a Moor in ancient times. So there's other references of people after Shem's death calling him a Moor. So how do you go from being, a continent full of black people here, all up and down America? It was thousands of black people here. According to Benjamin Franklin himself, according to the founding fathers themselves, there was thousands of black people here. Thousands and thousands. Just in the colonies. In the original 13 colonies. See, like, that's what I be saying. And Europeans don't put two and two together. They'll be quick to say, you guys came off the slave boat. Well, how the fuck we know? But when the 13 colonies were established, freaking, there's reports of black people being there too. So, well, if you started bringing all the black people here to North Carolina and South Carolina, like they say, do that official narrative, how the fuck do we have pre-Columbian history of black people being here? How the fuck do we have all that? Because they'll just practice cognitive dissonance. That's the problem with they all practice cognitive dissonance. They go, I don't have to accept that, so I won't. That's inconvenient for me to accept because I won't. My whole history is based off of lies, and that would shatter my worldview, and that would expose the guilt I have because of the sins of my ancestors. That's the truth. But some people are too soft to face the truth. They're not about to go and believe something because it's true. They believe things because it makes them feel good. That's the difference. People believe things because it makes them feel good. That's just like Christians. Everything's good. Everything's awesome. And the blood of Christ pays for all those things because it feels good. All that shit feels good, but it's not true. But that's what they're about. They're the feel good people. They're not about being good. They're about feel good. You see all the time. They just want to feel good. You go to
the church events. You know, you always see at the church events, oh, we had a cookout, oh, we gave some food out. Bro, you make millions of dollars at this church, bro. There's people sleeping on the streets, bro. Your pastor drives around in a BMW. People go, well, how is that bad? I'm like, bro, real talk, a real pastor who's really doing the work of God, if he has to have a car, it's going to be the cheapest car he can get, right? If he has to have a home, it's going to be a home that's no different from the people in his congregation. You see what I mean? But your churches work opposite. You guys get in, you become pastors, you lift yourself up above these people, and then they pay for your lifestyle. And all you do is come in and say words, but you're not doing shit else. They talk about feeding the homeless. Bro, if the churches are $1 billion industry in America, tax-free, just like everyone a part of this Songs 83 has tax-free benefits. I'm telling you, everyone who's Songs 83 has tax-free benefits. You know, that's the point. You get what I'm saying? If you are down with this clique and you've made deals and covenants with these nations and you are a part of this clique, you don't pay taxes here. Just like a lot of the rich in America have loopholes where they can get around the tax law. It's Songs 83. Foreigners can come into this land because all nations are confederate against Israel. Foreigners will come into this land and they receive tax-free benefits for 7 years. They pass that corporation down to their son or daughter who just came in. They receive tax-free benefits for years. That's how this works. That's how this works, man. But I'm gonna let you guys go because I'm gonna get ready for work and shit. I woke up early. I got dressed and shit. I was like, I'm gonna shoot this live, upload it to my Facebook, upload it to my YouTube. Also, guys, I love responses and comments, man. A lot of people have information that I don't have. But if you're on some like mainstream history shit, don't even bother commenting on my shit. Like, get out of here. If you believe all that nonsense they taught you in school still, you haven't questioned the narrative still, don't comment on my post. Now, if you have a question, you can comment. If you have information, I love that. You can comment. Other than that, bro, you guys have a nice day, man. I'm gonna probably get on, do another live tomorrow. What's up, guys? Probably get on, do another live tomorrow. But yeah, I'll be out here. Remember that, bro. This is your land. This is the black man's land. This is Shim's land. You don't have to feel bad for being poor out here. They've made it that way. They've made it that way. For white Gentiles too. Hey, if you are white and you're a Gentile here and you want to live in peace with us, and that's why the Most High brought y'all over here. It's only a select few of y'all who decide to lift themselves up above people and take heritages and all that. You don't have to be a part of that. Those people, hey, abandon them. Let them die on their own. They're gonna find out real soon, real soon, just how deep this rabbit hole goes, and they're gonna hate that shit, bro. They're gonna hate that shit, and it's gonna burn in their heart. And a lot of them are gonna have to come here and rebuild the things their ancestors destroyed that they want to steal in this land, because we know damn well they destroyed the pyramids in Memphis, Tennessee. We know damn well when they were building their highway system, they destroyed plenty of pyramids. We know damn well they got most of the land of Judah on lockdown as government land. We know they're hiding the artifacts. We know a lot of stuff. We know a lot of stuff. And as we wake up to this, more stuff comes out and more stuff comes out. And it's going to be impossible for the U.S. government to teach that bullshit they teach in school in 10 years. It's going to be impossible. All right. But, all praises to the Most High. Shalom, fam.